Hi, I'm Darlene with SeniorLivingGuide.com, and I am your podcast host for the day. Senior Living Guide is proud to be part of these Senior Focus podcasts, but did you also know that our one-stop shop website allows seniors and their caregivers to spend time reviewing different senior housing options in one easy-to-navigate website, taking the stress out of such a hard decision? Well, now you do. So go check us out at SeniorLivingGuide.com. And today our guests are Dr. Pam Tronetti and Janet Rooks. Dr. Tronetti is an osteopathic physician who specializes in geriatrics. Janet Rooks is a social worker and a dementia care specialist. They work together at the Parrish Senior Consultation Center, where they focus on the care of patients with dementia. Dr. Tronetti is the Director of Aging Services at Parrish, and Janet Rooks coordinates Parrish Senior Solutions, which provides education, resources, and support for seniors and caregivers. So today we are going to talk a little bit more about dementia. This is such a great topic, and it's something that I know that is really important to a lot of folks. And we're going to talk about medications that are out there to treat Alzheimer's disease. We've talked about this in the past, but there are about 50 types of dementia. Dementia is an umbrella term that describes progressive memory loss and the loss of patients' ability to live independently, right?
Right.
And there's just different types of common dementias and Alzheimer's in the U.S. So we're going to talk a little bit about those. And do we have prescription medications available for dementia? And we kind of want to talk about those. So we're going to talk, can dementia be treated?
Yes.
All right. So Dr. Tronetti, so what is the history of medication? And can we talk a little bit how you've treated Alzheimer's disease in the past?
Well, I want to go way back because when I was growing up and even when I was a young physician, older people were just called, oh, they're going through their second childhood. And they didn't mean that they were happy and playful. It meant they need somebody to put food in front of them and to get them dressed and to help in the bathroom.
Okay.
Or they just said, well, they're senile. You know, they're just not making any sense. They're talking out of their head. They're senile.
Right. I remember senile being like the word. You don't hear that as much anymore.
No.
Okay.
And the medical term came to be called organic brain syndrome. And when I was training, where did these people live? Well, we had huge nursing home units because half the folks would just kind of sit there, they'd be quiet, they'd be passive, and then the other half would be agitated. They'd be walking and walking and walking. It would be like watching a little racetrack. People are just walking in a circle, walking in a circle. There were folks who went to the county home. When my great-grandmother went to the county home, my grandmother said, oh, she went to the poorhouse. Because when they were growing up, that's what it was. It was the poorhouse.
Interesting.
Yeah, and my first job as a social worker was in the county nursing home up in Tennessee. It was a 676-bed nursing home. And we had people there, they had been in cottages. Some of them had been institutionalized since they were children. We literally had some folks there that had lobotomies due to mental illness.
Yeah.
And it was the county nursing home. Now, it didn't mean all of the residents there were... because of their inability to pay, because they were indigent. We did skilled care, we did rehab at short-term residents, but we had a lot of folks there that were long-term residents. As a social worker, what I did was I became the extension of their family because a lot of them didn't have families. But it was the county nursing home. And at one time it had been the poorhouse. They were there from the time that they were 18, and their committal papers were literally on their charts. And they were in their 70s or 80s.
We really have come a long way in understanding this.
Yes, we really, really have.
Wow. Wow. That gives me hope that, you know, even in a shorter period of time, we can come even farther. So did they have medication?
You know, all of the medication was focused on, it must be hardening of the arteries, so we're going to focus on circulation. So papaverine and persantine were supposed to improve circulation. Ginkgo biloba, which we still use sometimes as a natural treatment option. Vitamin E, that was going to cure everything and turn the clock back. Then they did some big studies and found that actually it causes worsening agitation So we've kind of gotten away from that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was a social work aspect of how you approached the person.
There was
with memory
behavior
loss.
modification, and
Mm.
we would actually at the nursing home we would actually bring in some mental health professionals, psychologists, and we would implement behavior modification models to where we'd bring the staff on board and reward system.
Mm-hmm.
So for the folks that were acting out, I literally had instant coffee in my office, and it was behavior modification. Their cigarettes, if they were good, they got a cigarette or a cup of coffee. So the behavior modification.
But at the time, we had reality orientation.
You brought them back to reality. Well, that was found real quick that didn't work.
Yeah, and clearly those, you doesn't work with people with dementia and Alzheimer's because they don't think the same way that we think.
Yeah, and in the
at the end of the day.
Yeah, and in the 80s, Naomi Fell, she was a social worker that she developed this theory that validation worked a whole lot better than reality orientation. So, and we use it now. And I often will tell people, I'll hold up an ink pen, and if your loved one says this ink pen is red, it's red, and it'll be a blue ink pen because it really doesn't matter. It's an ink pen.
Right.
And so you go into their world as opposed to bringing them into your world. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So you validate what they say. As long as it's safe, as long as it doesn't cause them to be agitated, but you enter their world, it doesn't matter. So say, for instance, they say, well, I'm going to wait until Mom gets here. I'm going to wait until your dad gets here to have dinner. Well, I'm not going to eat now. Well, we'll have dinner now and we'll fix him a plate when he gets here.
Yeah, as opposed to saying, well, Dad died 10 years ago and you were at the funeral. He died?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, my God. And you bring up all those bad memories.
Right.
Because they don't
working
remember.
around. It's working around the situation in a way that makes sense without causing drama.
And a lot of times it's harder on the families to get there initially, but it's such a relief because it works. It really works.
Yeah. Definitely going back into their world versus trying to constantly battle them into your world because you're never going to win the battle.
Oh, absolutely not.
I mean, just face it. So you just kind of have to accept it and go with it. And it will make your life easier, make their life easier. And really it's probably healthier for them to do that anyway.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because it's just causing stress and anxiety on their end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll often say, we do a memory test. So one of the first questions is, what year is it? And you find out what year they think they're living in. And it's like, bingo, you find out, and it's, and it's amazing because that if they're living in 1940 and it's, it's 2021 or 2020.
Right.
They're in a different world.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't even imagine. So what newer medications do we use?
And I want to get into the science of these medications. So we're going to go way back. We're going to go to 1906, Dr. Alzheimer.
Oh, interesting. So it's actually named after a physician.
Yes.
Okay.
He was taking care of a 53-year-old lady who had all of the symptoms of what we know as Alzheimer's disease today, the inability to care for self, some of the behavior things. And yes, when she passed away, he looked at her brain under the microscope and he found a couple of things. There were plaques, little buildup in the nerve endings and tangles. The nerves themselves were all wrapped up among themselves, like wrapped up yarn. They named the disease Alzheimer's disease in 1910.
Wow.
Now, jump ahead, the National Institute of Aging started in 1974, and an offshoot of that was the Alzheimer's Association in 1980.
Wow.
So they started doing more research because there were more and more people. You have to realize in 1900, half the people died before 65, half after. By 2000, 90% of the people lived to be over 65. So you were having more older people, more people with dementia. And so they started looking at these plaques and tangles. And they found that amyloid protein, when you read about Alzheimer's, you see a lot about amyloid protein. That was the plaques. And the tau protein was the tangles. They also found things like the genetic association, and different brain chemicals were missing, or they were just out of whack. That's a scientific term, out of whack. And one of the biggest one was acetylcholine. Okay, acetylcholine, that's easy. Just give them a pill with acetylcholine in it. No, doesn't work. It can't be absorbed. So they were actually giving like spinal taps, and they would put the acetylcholine in the cerebral spinal fluid. Lasted about 20 minutes. The person was like right as rain for 20 minutes, and then it went away. So, what do you do if you have spice in your spice cabinet and you have just a little bit left and it's really hard to find? You try to keep as much as you can. Right. So they developed, okay, here we go, big word, acetylcholinesterase inhibitors.
Wow. Can you say that 3 times fast?
I can't say it one time slow.
So when you hear the word esterase, that's something that breaks something down. So acetylcholinesterase inhibitor, it's blocking the breakdown. And that's where all the research was focused.
Okay.
So 1993, they developed a medicine called Cognex. The chemical name was Tacrine. 4-time-a-day medication, vicious side effects, stomach upset, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and it could shut down your liver.
Okay.
The FDA wanted to take it out the market. The Alzheimer's Association and the caregivers said, no way. We will deal with these liver side effects because we are losing the hearts and minds and souls of these people.
So actually was a drug that worked on the Alzheimer's side, but it was bad for the liver.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Really high risk of liver problems.
But, we have people that will come in every day saying, I'll deal with some, I just want a pill.
Sure.
I've got a diagnosis. I just want a medication. My neighbor's on a I want that medicine my neighbor's on. I want that. I heard about this medication, and I just want the medication. I want something to take care of this. And, we give out the information about the side effects and, the insert that's in the packet. Plus, we print off the stuff that's there. And, because people are hungry for a medication, and that's what we hear every day is I want the meds. I want the medication to treat this.
Right. And this medication is available today?
No. They managed to find safer versions.
Okay.
There's still acetylcholinesterase inhibitors. And I call them the three sisters because it's Aricept, generic is donepezil, Razidine, generic is galantamine, and Exelon, generic is rivastigmine. I'll wait for you to write those names down.
I was going to say.
I guess I'll be
4 times real fast.
I need a dictionary.
Yeah. Now, these have been around since the later 90s, and they're still in use today. And that's a part of our arsenal, which is a very small arsenal, to treat Alzheimer's disease and other dementias.
Yeah.
And we had a happy dance in the office when they went generic because they were so expensive before they went generic that it was just a real challenge. Some of the Part D plans didn't cover it, and it was very, very expensive. So when it went generic, oh wow, it was wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, I'm looking at the dates on how far really. You're looking at the first focus treatment was in 1993. That was not that long ago. I mean, and we've just really come a long way, per se, in a short period of time, and being able to at least find some treatments for it, that there is potential that continuing to experiment with these drugs, that we should continue in a forward motion. And I just have to have that hope.
And they absolutely are. I mean, but the last FDA-approved drug was approved in 2003. Since then, we've had hundreds of trials, and nothing else has come to market. They keep looking, and they're looking in different directions now for different causes, rather than just the acetylcholine, or we'll talk about another one, galantamine, again, brain chemicals. And hopefully we'll have something.
Yeah. The medication, it starts out with a smaller dose and to move up. on the dosing and everything. We rely so much on the family to report back to us, and we get phone calls saying, to move up to the higher dose, but the lower dose, it seemed to work better because I'm having some side effects, or my mom's having side effects because of that. We don't wait. We don't ask them to wait the 3 months to the follow-up appointment or something like that. It's just so very important not to just stop the medication because they may have had some side effects, to call us,
So what are some of the side effects?
Well, gee, Janet, I'll take that one for you.
Is that a laundry list like the commercial where they do the commercial and then really fast, like an auctioneer?
Yes. We start with the basics, the ones that would be the most common. Of course, we tell people, read the package insert so you know what to expect. Of the 3 sisters, as I call them, the most common of these side effects is stomach upset, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. Remember, these are serious drugs for a serious disease.
Right.
The most dangerous side effect are heart rhythm abnormalities. So if I have somebody with a heart rhythm problem, I'm going to talk to their cardiologist first and get their permission. And they might say, well, I need an EKG in a week. The donepezil, brand name is Aricept, also has nighttime leg cramps and nightmares.
Oh.
So if somebody says, I'm up half the night with leg cramps now, that is not the drug to choose. I'll choose one of the other 2 sisters.
Right.
Sometimes the nightmares are so severe, we'll ask the family, well, when are you giving this pill? Well, I'm giving it at dinner time. Well, how about if we try it at breakfast time?
Sure.
That might be better for them. Or as Janet mentioned, maybe the lower dose is what we need. The lower dose would do the job without the side effects. So it's a working together to find what the patient needs.
Yeah. Now, do you typically try, if they have like some of the GI issues, medications to help with those issues? I mean, do you try, maybe some, not Mucinex. Mucinex is, what is it called?
You're thinking like Pepcid, Malox.
All
these other
is what
things.
I was, some of those things to kind of help ease the issues with that. Is that helpful?
Usually it's more severe. It's past the point that something easy would help.
Gotcha.
But again, we use stepwise. We'll say, we'll give it on a full stomach. See if that helps. Use a lower dose.
Okay.
I hate to add a drug to treat the side effect of another drug.
That's why I thought I would ask, because I mean, do you try to because I know sometimes with cancer patients you have to go to some of those things. I didn't know if that was something. And
I've heard Dr. Pam say, let's go back and try it later on, like a few months later or maybe a year or 2 later. It didn't work then, but let's try it again because it may just have been a sensitivity to it.
Right.
So, because we have patients that she'll try it again.
Yeah, because sometimes it's just they're not keen on it, so if they don't feel too well, they stop it. And then as the disease progresses, they go, maybe I really should try to take this again.
Right. So while there's no clear cure for dementia, or we would be doing severe happy dances, I mean, we would be having a party in the street like it was 1999. But do these improve memory? I mean, what do these drugs do?
A small amount of people report, yes, this improved me. I'm playing the guitar again. I'm able to use my phone again. And we do have people who were started on these medicines and the dementia has slowed to the point that they're the same now on testing and functional ability as they were 5 years ago. For the most part, the goal is to slow the progression of the disease. I talk about if a car's rolling downhill, you put the brakes on.
Right.
It's still going downhill. Because when we look at somebody and say, you're 70 years old, we're just diagnosing Alzheimer's, it's an 8 to 20 year span. So we want to keep this person as active, as functional, as happy for them, but also for their caregivers.
Right. The longer quality of life as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, and it'll also help with sundowning, depression. And as she was saying, it helps with the quality of life. So, and we look at all the testing and stuff. So they may test out okay. It's to maintain. You know, it's not going to improve to the point that, you know, bring them back to 5 years ago, but it may help as far as maintaining and to help with a little bit of clarity, if you will, to help.
Like, is it foggy brain?
Yeah.
That maybe it deletes and gets rid of some of that foggy brain.
It's like turning the dimmer a little bit, you know,
Okay.
the dim switch, help brighten it up a little bit.
Okay, I got ya.
And the medication may just slow that progression down so that when the testing occurs every year, they maintain. Heaven forbid there's an illness, because they will slide down. And so it kind of slows down, puts the brake on the disease, if you will. And, you know, if it's Alzheimer's, it slows down that down the hill. The vascular dementia, it slows down going down the steps.
Okay. Good to know. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk about other medications and some different things as well.
Thank you.
All righty.
At Parrish Healthcare, we believe every life is poetry in motion, motivated by strength and determination. As your bone, muscle, and joint healthcare partners, we believe in blending the art of healing with the science of medicine to keep your body in motion. We believe in healing patients, healing families, and healing communities. For a free orthopedic health assessment, visit parrishhealthcare.com/orthoaware. Parrish Healthcare, where the art of healing comes to life.
Hey, Mom, how's the retirement home search coming?
Oh my gosh, I'm just so stressed out. I don't even know where to begin.
Well, why are you so stressed? What's the matter?
I don't know where to find anything. I just need everything in like one place and know what all the options are.
Does the idea of searching for senior housing seem overwhelming and you just aren't sure where to even begin? SeniorLivingGuide.com has great news for you. We offer a one-stop solution to take the stress out of your senior housing search. At SeniorLivingGuide.com, both our statewide Florida edition book and website are created to make your senior housing search very easy for you to navigate. We provide details on communities, including retirement, assisted living, skilled nursing, memory care, and home health, allowing you to decide which best fits your needs and then connecting you directly with those communities. Visit us online at SeniorLivingGuide.com and start your search today and start de-stressing.
At Parrish Healthcare, we believe in our community. We believe in keeping our community safe. We believe in the art of healing. We believe in healing patients, healing families, healing communities. We believe in the best and brightest working together for the common good. At Parrish Healthcare, our team focuses on you as an individual because every life is a work of art to us. Parrish Healthcare, where the art of healing comes to life. Visit parrishhealthcare.com/healthaware for a free health risk assessment.
Welcome back, everyone. So we're talking about different types of medications that are helpful for dementia and Alzheimer's patients with Dr. Pam Tronetti and Janet Rooks. So let's talk a little bit about medication, another type of medication that might work in a different way.
In 2003, Namenda, generic name is memantine,
Okay.
came to market. The theory is there's another brain chemical called glutamate, and that for some reason in patients with dementia, this is produced in excess and it causes hyperstimulation of the brain. So the people are like overwhelmed with information coming to each brain cell. And that the memantine helps kind of not really slow it, but help it process a little bit better so the person can focus and concentrate. And it also seems to help the behaviors of dementia, the agitation, sundowning, paranoia. And this has been also proven in scientific studies. It's not just us sitting here saying, you know, this is our experience. We kind of rely on this medicine.
Yeah, and I hear it a lot from the caregivers saying this is just wonderful. It has made such a world of difference.
Yeah.
And just day to day.
Yeah. It sounds like it's a
Wonder drug.
amazing. Yeah. It sounds like it might be the ticket.
But as always, it's not for every human being.
Nope.
Right. Because there's some side effects, aren't there?
Side effects. It's generally well tolerated, but, and again, we don't list every single side effect possible, but the most common we've come across are more headache, fatigue, diarrhea. It can elevate the blood pressure. So, and it's also processed through the kidneys, so we have to do adjustments for our kidney disease patients.
So let me ask you this question, because I know sometimes medications are something that once you get used to them, those side effects dissipate. Is that something that's possible, or?
Yeah, it's kind of a 50-50. Some people say, hey, I toughed it out and it got better. Other people say there's no way I could tough this out. And a lot depends on, well, what's wrong with you to begin with? As far as if you have irritable bowel syndrome with diarrhea and I'm giving you a medicine that might make it worse.
Oh, sure.
You might be, less apt to take it than the person who says, well, I'm always constipated, so I'll take this any day of the week. That's fine.
It's a 2-for-1.
That's right.
Well, and again, you start out with the lower dose, and then moving up to the higher dose, the next stage of, next step up causes the abdominal digestive issues. Go back to the lower dose, but talk to your doctor to say, hey, this is what caused that. So I'm going back. Look at the time of day that you're taking, as Dr. Pam said, so look at what's going on and make those adjustments. But it's so very important to talk to your doctor. Say, hey, this is what's happening in my day. But I did see a difference in the medication.
It's all about communication.
Well, and it's also about wrapping your brain around the fact that hey, this might be a good medicine for me.
So I did have a question on side effects. If a patient starts some of these medications when they're more progressed in the disease, is it harder for them to communicate some of their side effects?
It would be harder to say, hey, I have a headache, but the caregivers would say, hey, something ain't right.
Something ain't right. Okay.
They're not eating. They're just not acting right. They're laying in bed instead of coming. Okay, my rule is if you start a new pill and you have a new symptom, it's probably the new pill. So,
well, and also they may not be able to say, I've got a headache, but buddy, they're going to act out. They're agitated. They're going to be striking out, maybe not physically striking out, but you're going to know that something's just not right.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very important to call the doctor and say, there's a difference in the way that they're acting. They're not eating. They're restless. There's a change in their behavior because they can't say, I've got a headache. It's just like for folks that have small children. They can't say, my tummy hurts. I've got a pain here or I've got a pain there. You're going to know that there's something just not right. It's the same thing with someone that has advanced dementia. Your gut tells you something's just not right.
So you really, as a caregiver, it's super important to read those side effects, the labels on really any medication.
So
that you can kind of keep your eyes and ears out for any side effects that might be happening to someone that can't communicate if there are some side effects. So that's just good to note.
And that's the reason that, Dr. Pam will never start more than one medication at a time, because if there is something going on, you won't know which one it is that's causing the problem.
Exactly.
So, it'll be a couple of weeks in between, at least, before she'll start another medication. And because you won't know which one is causing the problem.
That is really good to note. And that doesn't always happen, because sometimes you'll go to the doctor and you'll walk out with a handful of scripts. Yeah. So that's really good to note. I like that.
You learned that here.
You learned that here, right here. So do these work for people who have other types of dementia, like vascular?
There's a certain percentage of people who actually have a combination of vascular disease and Alzheimer's. So you're using an Alzheimer's drug to treat a different pathology, if you will.
Okay.
But I've got to go off topic.
Okay.
And talk about off-label use, because no, there is nothing that has on their label, this indication is for vascular dementia or Lewy body dementia or primary progressive aphasia or the other, 50 types.
I would say that would be a lot of drugs. 50 different types of drugs.
Well, or it would be that this one drug, the company would have to go through the procedures to get the indication for this disease and this disease and this disease and this disease. And that simply doesn't happen. They usually go for one or two indications.
Gotcha.
And the rest of the time, we use them off-label. So I know that sounds a little unusual, so I want to just explore that just a little bit more. For example, the rivastigmine I mentioned has the indication for Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's dementia. Well, does that mean that the other two sisters can't be used ever, ever, ever in Parkinson's dementia? Well, the company can't advertise it, but will the doctor use it? Yes, I read in a journal article once, 50% of all prescriptions are actually off-label.
So it's not illegal to use off-label?
No, it is illegal for the company to advertise off-label use.
Okay.
Because they only went for a specific indication. But doctors, as long as we can say, look, as soon as a new drug comes out, you better believe researchers and academicians, they're using it and testing it to say, yeah, you know what, this would work well too. Let's add this, and then they do a study that says adding this drug helps this disease. So, you know, and there's no way, if we have an antibiotic that has these three indications and somebody comes in totally sick, we're not going to say, well, you know what, this doesn't say it on the label, so I'm not going to give it to you. We're going to try it.
I know this is kind of similar, and correct me if I'm wrong, please. I take Topamax for migraines every day. It's a prohibitive, but it was originally created for seizures.
Right. And a lot of the medicines for neuropathy were created for seizures, and now they're used for pain.
Right.
If you have an allergic reaction to something and you go to the ER, they might give you some Benadryl, diphenhydramine, and they might give you some IV Pepcid because that is used in allergic reactions. But who knew, right? You know, it's a stomach medicine.
And some of the ED, erectile dysfunction medications, are used with pulmonary hypertension.
There you go.
It's just really interesting, you know.
Right.
If you really get out there and see some of the meds and stuff, and the more you get into, I mean, it just kind of blows your mind.
Right.
But most people wouldn't know that.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's interesting that, you know, when I found that out about my medication, and then they don't really use it for seizures anymore because I don't think it was as highly effective as they found that it was actually for migraines.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you look on FDA.gov and it's and there's a section, what if I'm on what if my doctor is using an off-label medication? It doesn't say call the police. It says here's why you might be on a medication that your doctor is using off-label.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is something that I know that I went through with trying to kind of manage my dad from afar, per se. What about over-the-counter medications and supplements for memory?
You know, I recommend them a lot, but I want to be the guide. Because all the time people will say, I saw this drug, it's called Goody Brain, I want to take Goody Brain. Do you think I should take it?
Focus Factor. Throw that one out there. Yeah.
And there's some we really, really like and some that scare us to bits, aren't there, Janet?
Oh, they sure are, because they're loaded in caffeine.
Oh.
They're loaded in sugar.
Yeah.
And, you know, and loaded in God only knows what else. So it's very, very important that you let your doctor know what you're putting in your body because it could interfere with some other medication you're taking. And, you know, whether it be a blood pressure medicine or a cholesterol medicine or your aspirin or whatever, because if you're hypertensive and you're taking caffeine and sugar, what's going to happen? Your blood pressure is going to go sky high. So it's very important that you communicate. That's why when patients come in, we tell them to bring everything. Your prescriptions, your over-the-counter, your everything you're going into your body.
Right.
And, you know, and let them know because, you know, it's just, if it sounds too good, it may be too good, but it may work. But know what's going into your body because those Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sugar and caffeine a lot of times.
Well, so many there, and I've seen them. There are so many videos and YouTube videos that are selling all kinds of things that will show up on people's social feeds. There are advertisements when they're on websites, because based on people's search criteria, based on their age, based on, if they've researched Alzheimer's, dementia, anything like that, they're going to get an ad based on their behavioral online, how they're searching online. So they may not even realize that, but that's really what's happening. So they'll see all these different ads, and there'll be people, giving all kinds of testimonials. There'll be, they'll have to watch a 30 minute what ends up where they basically clickbait you to buying some kind of a supplement. And those things really, they need to find out before they make that purchase of 90-day supply, 120-day supply. They really need to talk to their physician.
Free offer. You get a double free offer if you do this, but you got to get your credit card.
Yes.
I have trouble sleeping sometimes, and it's amazing. I'll turn the TV on, which I know you're not supposed to, but it's amazing how many offers for sleep aids are on in the middle of the night.
Oh, of course.
And but they're free. Double offers, and but we need your credit card.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's important to not take the bait.
Exactly. And either, start doing your own research or ask your doctor. And a lot of times what they want to buy for $60 a bottle is actually available at your local natural food store for $20. And it's the same thing and probably a better quality.
Yes, for sure.
And don't buy anything that's not manufactured in the United States because you don't know where it was manufactured. It could have been in somebody's garage.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we just don't even know what we're putting in our bodies anymore, for sure.
No.
Yeah.
And also, most of the things you'll see advertised they're advertising for healthy adults. They specifically do not say this is for people with significant dementia.
Yeah, frail elderly.
Right. And most of them will have on the bottle not FDA approved.
Yeah.
Which you don't realize till actually you get the bottle. Most likely. You don't even, and then you read it and go, oh, darn it all.
I've been taking this for, 60 days, and I haven't seen a change in my life at all.
Exactly. So medications that help memory, but most people that have problems with moods and behaviorals, like sundowning, insomnia, anxiety, do any medications help with that specifically?
Yeah, but we're going to start by saying, if these are your symptoms, we're going to call Janet.
Yeah. Because I help the family deal with that.
Okay.
I give them, I'm the behavioral tips. They get a copy of the 36-hour day. And then I tell them to tell a family member that may be living out of state or whatever to also pick up a copy of the 36-hour day. Not one they're going to download on Kindle or something like that. Nothing wrong with Kindle, but they need to have that book in hand so that the person that's caring for their loved one can call and say, hey, Karen, turn to page 18, line 4. That's what Dad's going through today. The behavioral tips, I have a double-sided sheet that's called Behavioral Do's and Don'ts. And it tells you the do's and it tells you the don'ts. Don't argue. Don't become defensive. Don't overreact unless it's fire, safety, or water. You enter their world. And, it's all about validation. And tell them, don't ask them why they did something or do they remember, because they have no earthly idea why they did it. They just did.
Right.
It talks about agitation, paranoia, hallucinations, and how to deal with that. Because, again, you enter their world.
Right.
You don't argue with them. If they're talking about, it's instead of saying, Dad, do you remember when we used to go to the lake and play at the beach? It's, I remember when we used to go to the lake and play at the beach and have picnics, and you bring them into that story. So it's all about how you respond to things. If they're hallucinating, then you redirect the conversation. Depending upon the severity of the hallucinations, then by all means, yes, that's something you talk to the doctor about. You talk to the doctor about it anyway. But yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we teach people how to react to things, but how not to react. That sometimes when we dig deeper, the agitation is because the caregiver is kind of agitating them. For example, well, I can't take my mom out to lunch. She gets agitated. And I tell her before we go to lunch, this is that place you like. They have a really great salad. Oh, by the way, they also have some soups. And, oh, Dad got that sandwich the last time he was here. And, but we might want a full meal because then we might have to. Well, by the time this person is through talking, all of us are agitated, as opposed to, okay, we're going to lunch. Mom, do you want chicken or fish? Well, the last time you were there, you liked that the mashed potatoes they had. Does that sound good today? You've erased the agitation, not with a pill, but your response. A lot of times people want to explain something. They'll drive down the road and the mom will say, see that horse? That was my neighbor's horse growing up. No, Ma, it can't be your neighbor's horse growing up because your neighbor's dead and the horse is dead and everybody's dead. Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
No, just say,
Exactly.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Or
And
that was where
nod.
I went to school. I grew up right there, and I went to school at right there. No, you didn't. You went to school. We didn't live here, and it was all of that arguing, trying to correct, continuously correcting. If you wouldn't take someone that has dementia to a sports bar,
Right.
Where the TVs are playing, there's a lot of noise.
too much.
It's too much.
Yeah. My dad would even we pulled up somewhere that he'd never been. He says, "Oh, I've been here before. I remember this." Okay, Dad.
Okay, Dad. That's exactly
And I remember
it.
going, "No, you haven't."
But sometimes,
But letting him have it. Yeah.
you need to get other people involved. Sometimes it's an adult daycare, which we never call adult daycare. It is a senior center for people with memory problems. Or if the agitation always comes at bath time because you and your mom are uncomfortable giving her a bath, you hire somebody and say, this is a nurse who's coming who is going to help you take a shower, and she's going to be right here because I'm worried you're going to fall. So one less pill that has to be started because you've dealt with it with behavior.
Right.
And they're going to ask, do I have to pay for this? And the question is no. You don't have to pay for it, and they don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And that just reminds me of a story. We had a little lady that was 90 that was in our office, and she was the cutest little old thing. And she lived with her daughter, and she sat there and she said, honey, when you turn 90, you don't have to pay for anything. I said, you don't? She said, no. She said, when you turn 90, everything is free.
Oh my gosh.
And her daughter had her believing that everything in her world was free when she turned 90. And and it was the most endearing, most beautiful thing I had ever seen. So I call them therapeutic fibs, and God forgives those little therapeutic fibs. So no, the nurse that's coming to help with the shower is free. And you tell your other family members that wants to send Mom another thing of gowns. No, pay for an hour of private duty to come in.
Yeah.
I will jump in for just a minute because we have to use a lot of anecdotes in our talks, and I want to let you know that they're never about a specific person. We kind of fictionalize our story just a little bit because we have to protect people's privacy. So don't ever think that we're telling tales out of school.
No. And one thing that I will remember with my dad that when I did see a lot of relief leave his face is the day that we took him into assisted living, and he started telling me about, I took over his checkbook. I took over everything. I'm going to pay his, he doesn't have to worry about anything. We're good to go. He said, he started talking about money. And I said, Dad, you don't have to worry about money anymore. I'm taking care of all of that. And he goes, his whole shoulders did this.
Oh,
you are? I said, Daddy, I've got it. We are taking care of all your bills. You don't have to worry about food. You don't have to worry about paying for rent. You don't have to worry about your medication, your hospital, everything. We're taking care of everything. We've got it. You don't need to know about how much money. No, I got it, Daddy. It's all good. And his whole shoulders, you could just see like weights lifting off of him because he had been struggling trying to pay things that he, and I know I mentioned this in a previous episode, he was paying $500 a month to some mystery lawyer that I think was just scamming him completely. So he was just struggling, really struggling, and it was a relief. And I never heard one word again from him about money.
Wow. And now, of course, the next step, though, is yes, we do. We do use antidepressants for people who are depressed. We do use anti-anxiety type medicine, even sometimes antipsychotics for the person who is having those hallucinations, delusions, the paranoia, because they're in pain. It doesn't feel good to be paranoid. And these medications help take the edge off and improve the quality of life.
Yeah.
Give them some peace. Do you worry about side effects with any of these things?
Sure. But again, we choose the lowest dose, the safest products, and the door's always open to call in. If you see a side effect, you call us. When I was a young doctor, I would give somebody something and they'd come back for their 3-month visit. Well, how did that work for you? Oh, I stopped it after 3 days. But that means that your problem went untreated for 2.5 months. Call us because there's always options.
Yeah. But families are desperate. They are so desperate because they see their loved one in pain, but they're also desperate because they can't fix it. I mean, they're just not able to fix it. So when something is available, a medication is available, because all this, the behavioral tips, all of the information, they've tried it and it's just not working because their loved one's brain is just not responding to all that. They're relieved that there might be a medication to help with it.
But we also have families who either they don't want any medication at all, or they literally are telling us, I don't want to turn him into a zombie. Well, that's not what I want.
No.
That's not what Janet wants. That's not what the family wants. What we want is we want to get your mom or dad back.
Yeah.
As much as we can, we want to keep them happy and do as much as they can and enjoy life as much as they can. Some of the saddest things we see are people who didn't treat the dementia, and now they're 3 or 4 years down the road, and they say, I can't handle this anymore. The behavior is so out of control.
And they'll say, I need them placed. Well, I can't place them in a facility if they're agitated, if they're exit seeking,
dangerous.
if they're dangerous, a danger to themselves, or they're fighting. A facility's not going to accept them.
Yeah.
And so then it becomes, well, they're exit seeking. I can't find a facility that'll take them. And so it becomes one of those things that we've got to get the behavior under control before we can, find a place to fit that'll accept them and find the right fit. So it becomes a challenge.
Right.
So,
and that's another thing I think people don't realize with dementia, that it can bring out a certain behavioral issue. It's not that you just forget and you're just like nice and sweet and sitting around, just watching television. You can see certain sides of someone that you may have never seen those sides your entire life.
Yeah.
That can be violent.
Yeah.
And it can be scary.
Know. You never
very
know.
Scary. Yeah. And it's very disheartening to watch when it does happen. Yeah. So what would you recommend for families facing the disease and considering medication? To just kind of wrap it up today.
I would say get an early diagnosis, know what you're fighting, know what you're dealing with, get the education and the support, and be open to a combination of behavioral interventions and get the medication started.
And sometimes families will come to us and say, I wished I'd have been here sooner.
Absolutely.
Don't wait thinking, I'll just let this go and I can handle it myself. Reach out for help. I often say, if you think you're waiting for a rainy day, it's sprinkling, it's starting, the thunder's coming. Just, reach out for help. Don't wait, because the medications can be introduced early and, they're more effective. Don't wait. And, there's medication for the hallucinations, for the behavior problems. We would rather get involved sooner than later and help you out. So reach out.
I had someone say, to me at one point, and this was someone that I worked with, bad news does not get any better with age.
Mm.
And so I kind of take that to heart. You get it over with. Holding on to it is not going to get any better.
Yeah.
So
Reach out for help.
absolutely.
Just go do it.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, ladies. And until next time, thank you, everyone, for joining us on this podcast, SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast with the ladies from Parrish Healthcare.